I used to think house calls were something from old movies. You know, the kindly doctor with his black bag showing up at farmhouses in the 1950s. Quaint, outdated, completely irrelevant in our modern world of urgent care apps and telemedicine. Then my daughter stopped breathing, and the ambulance was 20 minutes away. That's when Dr. Chen knocked on my door, the elderly doctor from down the street. The one everyone in the neighborhood laughed about because he still made house calls in 2026. The one I'd politely dismissed 2 weeks earlier when he offered to check on my daughter's cough. It started with a normal Tuesday afternoon. Sofia was doing homework at the kitchen table while I made dinner. She'd had a peanut butter sandwich for lunch, the same lunch she'd eaten 1,000 times before. Then she started coughing. Not her normal cough, something different, wet, strained. "Mom, I don't feel good," she said, and her voice sounded wrong. I turned around and my blood went cold. Her face was swelling. Her neck had red blotches spreading like wildfire. Her lips were turning an awful grayish blue. "Sofia," I dropped the pot I was holding and ran to her. She couldn't answer. She was gasping, clawing at her throat, her eyes wide with terror. I was on the floor with Sofia, trying to remember anything from a CPR class I'd taken 5 years ago, when I heard the knock. 3 sharp, authoritative knocks. I scrambled to the door, praying somehow the ambulance had arrived early, that God had heard my desperate prayers. I threw it open. Dr. Samuel Chen stood on my porch, his worn leather medical bag in hand, slightly out of breath like he'd been running. My heart sank, not the ambulance, just the old doctor from down the street, the one with outdated methods and old-fashioned ideas. "I heard you scream," he said, already moving past me. "Where is she?" "The ambulance is coming, I don't think. She had peanut butter for lunch, but she's eaten that 1,000,000 times she's not." "Does she have an EpiPen?" Dr. Chen's eyes were focused, intense. "No, she's not allergic to anything." He looked up at me and something in his expression made my stomach drop. "She is now. She's in anaphylactic shock, late-onset allergy. Where's your kitchen?" My mind went blank. This couldn't be right. Sofia had eaten peanut butter since she was 2 years old. This old man had to be wrong. The ambulance would have real equipment, modern medicine, proper emergency protocols. But Sofia made a horrible gurgling sound, and her eyes started rolling back. Dr. Chen moved through my kitchen like he'd been there 100 times. He found the medicine cabinet, pulled out children's Benadryl, measured it with precision. "This will buy us time," he said, administering it to Sofia. "It won't stop the reaction completely, but it'll slow it down until the paramedics arrive with epinephrine." He elevated her legs, loosened her collar, checked her airways. Every movement was practiced, confident like a dance he'd performed countless times. "Breathe with me," he said to Sofia, his voice gentle but firm. "In through your nose, out through your mouth, that's it. You're doing great." Then he looked at me. "You too, Mom, she needs you calm, breathe." I obeyed, mirroring his steady rhythm. 12 minutes after Dr. Chen knocked on my door, the ambulance arrived. Sofia's breathing had stabilized slightly, not normal, but better. The terrifying blue color had faded from her lips. 2 paramedics rushed in with equipment and immediately recognized Dr. Chen. "Dr. Chen, what have we got?" "Anaphylaxis, first-time peanut allergy presentation. 8-year-old female. I've administered 25 mg Benadryl approximately 9 minutes ago. Airways compromised but stabilized. She needs epinephrine now." The paramedics moved with coordinated efficiency, clearly having worked with him before. One administered the EpiPen while the other prepared the gurney. At the hospital, the ER doctor confirmed everything. Late-onset peanut allergy. Severe anaphylactic reaction. If Dr. Chen hadn't intervened with immediate antihistamine treatment and airway management, Sofia would likely have died before the ambulance arrived. I sat in the waiting room numb while they monitored her. Dr. Chen sat beside me, his ancient medical bag at his feet. "I don't understand," I finally whispered. "How did you know?" He smiled gently. "2 weeks ago at the grocery store, I heard Sofia cough. It had a particular quality, slight wheezing, upper airway inflammation. Could have been nothing. Could have been emerging allergies. In 47 years, I've heard that cough 10,000 times. But it was just one cough in a store." When you make house calls, you learn to see the whole patient. Over the next week while Sofia recovered, I couldn't stop thinking about Dr. Chen. I started asking neighbors about him, really asking, not just listening to the jokes. What I discovered stunned me. "Mrs. Patterson, Dr. Chen caught my husband's heart condition during a routine house call 3 years ago. He heard an irregular heartbeat, insisted we go to the ER immediately. They found a 90% blockage. The cardiologist said another week, and Tom would have had a massive heart attack. The Rodriguez family. Our son has diabetes. Dr. Chen visits monthly to check his management, teach nutrition, adjust his care plan. He doesn't bill us because he knows we're struggling financially. He just cares." Young couple with a newborn. Dr. Chen stopped by the day we brought Emma home from the hospital. He noticed I had postpartum depression before I even recognized it myself. I learned that Dr. Chen had been trying to close his practice. His daughter, a hospital administrator in the city, kept pressuring him to retire. One afternoon at the coffee shop, I overheard her on the phone with him. "Dad, you're 72 years old. You can't keep running around making house calls. What if you have a heart attack? What if you make a mistake without proper hospital equipment? You're being stubborn and ridiculous." I couldn't stay quiet. I walked over. "Excuse me, are you Dr. Chen's daughter?" She looked annoyed. "Yes, and you are. The mother whose child would be dead if your father had retired like you want him to. Your father isn't outdated. He's the best doctor I've ever met, not despite making house calls, but because of them." That conversation changed everything. Dr. Chen's daughter visited him the next week. I saw them on his porch talking for hours. When she left, they were hugging. 2 months later, Dr. Chen announced he wasn't retiring. Instead, he was expanding. His daughter had helped him secure grants for a community house call program. 2 young doctors were joining his practice to learn his methods. Insurance companies agreed to pilot coverage for house calls. "House calls aren't outdated," Dr. Chen told the neighborhood meeting. "They're preventative medicine at its best. We catch problems before they become emergencies. We build relationships that save lives." The program launched 6 months ago. Hospital admissions in our neighborhood dropped 40%. Chronic disease management improved dramatically. Patient satisfaction went through the roof. But more than statistics, people felt cared for. They felt seen. They felt like they mattered. Sometimes the most radical thing is refusing to abandon what works just because it's old. Last week, Sofia and I visited Dr. Chen to give him a gift, a new medical bag to replace his worn-out one. He carefully transferred his instruments from the old bag to the new one. His stethoscope, blood pressure cuff, thermometer, tools that have saved countless lives. "You know what the best part of house calls is?" he asked Sofia. "What?" "I get to see people in their real lives, their homes, their families, their struggles. Medicine isn't just about treating bodies. It's about understanding people. You can't do that in a 7-minute clinic appointment." Sofia hugged him. "You're my favorite doctor ever." He smiled.